Okay, cool. We're live now. Woo! All right, so
You're on speed when you say that. Probably turn around.
wait, what? Oh, it's Melanie. Hey, Mel. How's everybody doing? And I realize you guys are all muted. Just give a thumbs up. Tucker, you can leave. I don't need this right now from you. Cool. As soon as I can figure out how to share my screen. Wow, technology is hard. Okay. I think I got it. Can you see it? Do you see it? Do you see it now?
Yes.
Lit. Okay. Cool. So, and we begin. How to be a kick-ass account manager. Woohoo! Cool. A lot of this is just going to be partially me talking, but then partially you guys sharing your own experiences and stuff, because it is a very personal thing and very subjective to each person's individual experience. But hopefully by the end of it, we can all have a good idea about how to be awesome as fuck account managers. But before we do that, you guys have done your J1 certifications. You can unmute yourselves if you have done it, or if you have not.
I did
Let
it.
me know.
Yeah, what up? I did it. You know I did it, girl.
Hey.
Did you want us to redo it this semester too, or is it just last semester carrying over?
Yeah, redo it this semester.
Oh,
Also get your members to do it because it's important. If you don't know anything about the J1 visa or you don't know like the specifics of it, then how can you be expected to be a good seller in iGET or be a good account manager, because a lot of it is doing visa processing and stuff like that. So get that shit done. Otherwise, I'm going to have to start annoying you guys, and I really don't want to do that. So good stuff. All right, so let me zoom out. Lit. All right, so a couple questions that you or your members might be asking yourselves when you start your role is, when does my account manager role start? What does it mean to be an account manager? And does anyone actually even care if I do my job or if I do it correctly? So the answer to when does your account manager role start? Well, it starts right now. It starts when you start doing sales. Even though you don't have an actual account maybe raised, or you're not working with partners to bring in interns, you're still getting those leads and building those initial relationships that can later turn into those sustainable accounts in the long run. And so the relationships that you're building right now will affect how well you can manage your accounts in the future. And what does it mean to be an account manager? Well, the way that I view it is that your accounts are essentially your babies, and this cute little baby on the left is what represents that. And when you start off, you are building that relationship with your account initially and with that company, and you're holding their hand and you're investing a lot of time and effort and energy into making it a relationship where they can communicate with you and vice versa, and you guys are both getting something out of it, so that in the hopes that grow up and they'll go and talk to other businesses and other companies, and they'll only have good things to say about iSIG, and they'll only have good things to say about their experience because of the relationship that they have had with you guys. And the way that you can view that is you're kind of like the mom or like the dad in this. And so everybody loves their mom and they love their dad. And that's the kind of relationship that we want to have, is that they love working with us and they love working with you specifically. And then, does anyone actually care if I do my job? Yes, so many people care. Vinny, your MCVP cares, and your NST cares, and the VPs in your network care a lot. And so the work that you do as an account manager, it affects your team, it affects your LC, but also your network in general, because every single time you have a touch point with somebody that is external to iSIG, you are promoting our brand and you're getting the word of iSIG out there. And so how you do that will say a lot about where we go in these next coming years. And if you are a great account manager and you build those sustainable relationships, you can upscale those to other LCs, you can upscale those and like really help promote iGET in the US. So the work you do on a local level matters a lot, and it matters to the people in your network. And then first things first, be professional. So some of you guys that I've had conversations with, your members, I have heard that have not been like the most professional when talking to companies. So maybe just reiterate that fact to them that presenting iSIC when you talk to different companies, and it's not just like students that we're talking to. So don't go and tell them about all the internal problems that iSIC has, and don't tell them about all of your problems that you're having. Be professional in how you speak. Don't use like iSIC jargon and stuff like that. And when you do talk to companies, make sure that you communicate with them efficiently. And if they, email you, respond to them in less than 24 hours, those kinds of things, because they like live in a different world. We're students and we have jobs and we have other things on our mind, but they're businesses and they're professional people, so we want to interact with them accordingly. So as an account manager, you have a lot of different relationships with a lot of different people. Some of those, like your company partners, your EPs, your MC, NST, and your AD assistant. And you wear a lot of different hats as an account manager. Sometimes that can get a little bit confusing and hard to balance because you do interact with those people in very different ways. So just something to keep in mind and be aware of. It's not a bad thing, it's just the nature of the job. And now we're gonna go through the timeline, and while we're going through this, we're gonna stop and talk about some problems that you guys might be experiencing in each of these and like what bottlenecks you guys are coming across and how you have come to overcome those. Cool. So this is the basic timeline: sourcing, shortlist, visa processing, and realization. All in all, should take ideally 6 to 8 weeks. Sourcing. So when you're talking to the company, you want to make sure that you don't leave them in the dark. So we have a lot of things that we do internally as account managers, and we're really busy all the time, but that might not necessarily be the case for the company, and we don't need to talk to them all the time. And even though you don't need to, it's important to keep them in the loop. So you should never go more than a week without reaching out to a company and updating them, this is what's going on. Even though like maybe shortlisting is taking a long time, we'll just tell them it's taking longer than expected. That way they know that at least something is being done and you're taking care of their account and not just kind of forgetting about it. And so some questions that you can ask the company about is, what qualities are they looking for specifically in an EP, and set those deadlines with the company about shortlists and interviews, and do preliminary interviews if possible with your applicants, so that you know that the shortlist that you are giving that company is quality and not just like some kind of random people, because people can put whatever they want on their CVs, but if they actually don't know what they're talking about, then we don't want to present that to the company. So let me like go back to this. How do I go back? If you guys can like say any kind of what are specific like issues you've been experiencing in this sourcing part of the process, or like any bottlenecks that you've come across, if any.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I have like one.
Yeah.
So right now I'm sourcing for one of my projects, and the company is very specific on what it is. And like I gave them a really good short list, like it was very concrete and they were happy with it. But then they came back to me and said, oh, we want EPs from only elite schools. And they gave me like this website of all the universities in the world, and they said only above like this certain point. So I have to go back and try to just search from these elite schools, and really that's, I think, too much. I don't know how much value it's actually adding to this sourcing process for them if it's just from this elite schools. Like you can still find good students and good EPs from another school in the world.
Right. So with that, how long has it taken you to, from the point where they asked you, like, we only want EPs from these elite schools, how much has that added onto your timeline?
So that was just this afternoon that I heard back from them, but I did do a similar thing last semester, and it honestly didn't work that well because it came down to having to go out to do IR partnerships and have to find these universities and contact their specific local community.
Yeah. So maybe with that, have a conversation with that company. I mean, I'm sure you know this already, but talk to them and say, look, this has happened before, and this is kind of the result that occurred from that. And it took a much longer time to find the interns that you're looking for. Even though it is possible, it's going to delay the process a lot. And I mean, honestly, if they're okay with delaying it, like there's not much that you can do with that. If that's what the company wants, and that's what you have to give them. But really try to like sway them back from that, if that makes sense, because there are a lot of other very talented, very capable EPs apart from those like elite schools. So maybe like trying to find sample CVs of other EPs apart from the ones that they really liked, and saying like, these people are really awesome, and just because they don't go to that elite school, like doesn't mean that they're not quality.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah. Anybody else? No. Yes. No. Cool. And then moving on to shortlists. So shortlists should be delivered, it says no more than 2 weeks, but really like in 1 week, you should give that to the company. Ask them if they need help setting up any interviews. Sometimes if you don't ask them, then they'll take a really long time, longer than they should. And then confirm with them the deadlines for any selection for the interns, and follow up with them if necessary, because if you just send them the shortlist, they will take like 2 to 3 weeks in picking that intern. And really it's not necessary to take that long. It should take them a week at most for that. And then visa processing, make sure that they're clear on the timeline for it, that they know what documents they need to provide and when, and update the company at least once a week until the intern is realized, so that everybody is on the same page and that communication is transparent and clear. And then once the intern is realized, remind the company that you're there for support and you're there to answer any questions that they have, any concerns. If possible, try to take the intern to the first day of work. This is not only for the EP's benefit, because you're there taking them to a new location and like helping them adjust to their surroundings, but also that's where you can meet with the company and go over the job description again, go over the objectives, and make sure that everybody's on the same page in terms of what are the goals for the company and for working with that EP, what are they hoping to accomplish while the EP is here for their program, and that when they're checking up on them and when you're doing your reviews, that we know like, these are the goals that we set in the beginning, how are we working towards meeting those? Yeah, and then follow up 2 weeks after the intern is realized with the company to say, how are things going, just to check in. Is there anything that we need to adjust? Because honestly, if you don't reach out to the company, like that is your job, is to always be reaching out to them. A lot of times companies are very busy, like they're very busy people, and they don't have time to go to ISIC and say, oh, you know, the intern, I don't really like this, and there's like this small thing that they do and it's not really helping. They don't have time to report to you back every single little detail that they don't like. But if you make that effort to reach out to them first and be constantly checking in with them and provide those touch point opportunities for them, then it'll increase like the company satisfaction that they have with the intern and the program. So post-realization, so the intern is here, they started their program, and everything is good, you checked in with the company, and for a lot of times that's when people think, okay, this is where my duties essentially come to an end. I've done the bulk of what I needed to do for my account manager role. You know, I brought in the intern, I did their visa processing, everything's good, they're situated, they have done IPS, they're adjusted, and now I am closed for business. But in reality, that's just the tip of the iceberg. So everything that you do before realization, yeah, it can be a lot of work, but it's like very much only like scratching the surface of everything that an account manager needs to be doing to build those sustainable relationships. Because customer loyalty is a very priceless thing to have in any organization, any business. Retaining customers is so much easier than finding new ones. And like statistically speaking, the cost of acquiring a new customer is 7 times more expensive than retaining an old customer. So if you do not take the time to invest in these relationships, to invest in these businesses, and make sure that the experience they have with ISIC is worthwhile and that they're really benefiting from it and gaining something from it, then they're gonna leave, and all the effort and time that you put into that, you're gonna have to do it again the next year and again the year after that. And that's like not the whole purpose of ISIC. The whole purpose is to create those sustainable relationships, to make it easier on yourselves and make it easier on the people who come after you. And so some benefits of retaining, having loyal customers is that it's cheaper. So it's cheaper and it takes less time. You don't have to spend as much time chasing down leads and doing sales because you already have those accounts that are willing to re-raise with you time and time again. And then not only that, but it kind of does the work for you in sense of positive word of mouth. So if a company really likes an experience that they're having with you and they think it's awesome and that, you know, working with iSIG has just been a phenomenal experience, then when they talk to other businesses and people that they know, they're going to say, you know, look, I work with this organization and I think you should really check them out. And like that small thing in itself, that small exchange of information is going to like reduce so much time for you, because you don't have to go and spend time on LinkedIn and go chasing down these sales, because they're going to be coming to you instead. And then another huge thing is that loyal customers and customer loyalty, they remain loyal even if they see competitors that offer them other alternatives or better alternatives, because they have built such a relationship with you, and it's such a strong relationship, and they trust you and they trust the work that you do and that it's quality, and they believe in the cause that we're doing. And so even if a company says, I can do this faster, cheaper, and bring you in more interns, they're not going to leave because they're loyal to something that is not material, like some kind of intrinsic value that they get from it. Does that make sense? How are you guys feeling? Can I get a shout out or like a good, bad? What is this wavy no that you're doing? Cool, cool stuff. Thomas is here, lit. Let me like catch up on these chats. Make sure to align companies on supply. Yeah, nice, good stuff. Cool. So how do you do it? We know we want to keep these companies. We know we want them to really love working with us, but that's all very like vague and in the air, and it's in the clouds, and it's all a bunch of fluffy stuff. So there's something called an insights to action engine. And this kind of model is like a tool that you can use when interacting with companies to make sure that there's constant flow of communication and that all the issues that need to be addressed are getting addressed. So first, the company interacts with us, then we engage that company. We engage them by listening and having one-on-ones with them. Then we close that loop, and then we address those issues that came up. We share what we learned and we act upon those issues, and it just goes in a circle like that. So first, the company interacts with us, and this is when we can identify those moments of truth that merit feedback. So whether a company really, really liked us, like that's really good positive feedback for us, or if they had some key issues, key points that we need to know about, then that's also very good that that was brought to our attention. We identify key decision makers in that process and company contacts. So a point to make about this is that when you're talking to companies, and you usually only have one point of contact in a business. However, try as best you can to talk to as many different departments, as many different personnel and like people in that company as you can, because one, you never know if a different department is going to need an intern as well, and they just don't even know that iSIG exists. Like if the company is big enough, it might be that we're working with one department, but the other department has no idea that we're even in that company. So that is another option, for, like opportunity for bringing in more EPs. But then also the same concept, like word of mouth, positive feedback. The more people in that company that know about you, that's more people that can spread iSIG to other contacts and like in their network. And then also prepare the company for feedback requests, just so that they know that while they're here, while the EP is here, that you're going to be reaching out to them quarterly or monthly to get input and checking in and seeing how things are going, and expecting them to be honest and in their reviews and like letting you know if there's any issues. So then you're going to be engaging the customer, and this is like the main part where you get input from them about how their experience is going so far, and been having problems, or if it's just been going great. In that case, that's fine, and you can keep doing what you've been doing. And this is where you find out like what is their preferred method of communication if something goes wrong. So how serious of an issue is it, and like how do they prefer to be reached for that issue? And then also engage in one-on-one conversations with them. You know, have phone calls. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone and give them a call, or like walk in and just go out to lunch with them one day, and try to touch in with them every month, at least once a month, so that they know that you're there, and if they have any issues, that they can always reach out to you because you're available. And then you're going to close that loop. So say that they did have an issue and you listened to it, and then you came back talk to your team about it. So this is where you empower yourself and your members to resolve those issues. Once you do figure out like this is what the problem is, this is our action steps, follow up quickly with that company and make it personal so that they know that you really care and you really put in that time and effort to make sure that their issue was addressed quickly and with as much quality and like efficiency as possible. And then same kind of concept applies. The follow-up that you do with based on this issue is determined by how important it is. So like if it was super important, like the EP was, I don't know, suspected of stealing or something like that, then don't just like try to follow up with them in a text or something. Like pick up the phone and give them a call to see what's been going on with that, or go meet with them in person. And then share the learning and act on those issues. So you can identify improvement opportunities here and find the bright spots. So not everything is an issue, not everything is super bad. Find the things that are going well and how do we continue making sure that those happen. And then communicate any actions that you take with the customer. So if you had a meeting with the EP or like did some more IPS seminars with them, or talked to them, reevaluated their goals and stuff like that, then let the company know so that they know that you've been taking action to address those issues, or to like keep making sure that the good things that they're doing, that they keep doing those. And so all in all, for customer loyalty and like how to manage your partners, there's really no set formula. Like there's no set of steps that you can do and ensure that a company is gonna absolutely love you and then it's gonna be great. But some tips and things that you can consider when talking to your companies is invite them to external events. So if you want to have a lunch or a dinner with the partners that you have, that's something that would be really cool to do so that they can interact with other companies that are also working with you. I know sometimes there's events like Youth Speak or Youth to Business Forum or any other kind of future ISIC events that we might hold that are open to externals as well. Feel free to invite them to those because they want to know, you know, what else are you doing in your organization other than just, and then having those quarterly check-ins with them, inviting them to events like BOA or LCM. I know for this, Tan, she mentioned that one of her companies, like somebody at her company was going to come speak at a meeting or something. Tan, do you want to say what that was about? Tan.
Hey, can you ask again?
Introduction about himself. And then his experience working in different countries. Because
are you talking,
like,
Tan? There's like someone talking with you.
World.
Anyways, what I was saying.
Talk a little.
Yeah, mute yourself. So what I was saying was like you were mentioning that some dude from some company that you're working with was gonna come and talk to your team or something like that. Give like a session or something. Do you remember?
Yeah. So
like as in like how
basically.
Yeah.
Like
so
yeah.
basically this is what it is. Wait, let me show my face.
bring back in return. Like,
all right, cool. I'm in the library, so sorry guys, a little bit noisy. So we have the company and we've been shortlisting through the interns, and then again they're not really happy about it. There was just like, oh, this is not the person that we want, and then they keep like return back and forth, and then they kind of like not really happy about like the service we provide. But the thing here is, because I put in effort to hang out with them, to talk to them, to have lunch with them, so I already developed that one-on-one relationship with the person. So no matter if we kind of like not professional or doing something a little bit wrong, because they know you, they trust you, they see your work ethic as a person. So that's why they understand you, and then they giving you like more time for you to learn. And then there's one thing that I want to stress you guys about is, this is not us begging them to take our interns. This is us partnering with them. So we're bringing in the interns to add the advantage to the company, and at the same time we want to develop leadership skills in every single one of the interns as well. So just really be yourself, and it is very useful and necessary to have that one-on-one relationship with the person, because at the end of the day, it's not company and ISEC, it's humans with humans, you know? Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Don. Does anybody else have anything else that they want to share? Any kind of experiences that they've had with companies that have been like really good or really bad that particularly stand out? Maybe not. Emma's like, no.
I do have one.
Oh my gosh, Don. Okay, go.
Yeah, so that is the kind of like the bad one, complicated one, right? I do have one really good one. So I came to talk to him, and then when I present the finance model and stuff like that, that is not what he cares about. What he cares about is he asking me so many questions about, okay, so when the interns come in here, who's the one who's gonna pick him up, where he's gonna stay, is there any local food around so he feel like home? Are you guys gonna hang out with him and stuff like that? You know, there's such diverse partners that you're gonna meet, and those partner is the one that you really want to appreciate. And this LCM, I'm inviting him to come to our LCM and give like a session about himself, present himself, like what is his experience and stuff like that. So engage him into our daily iGET work, because they take in interns, but once they see us doing work and stuff like that, they could be an asset to us. So they can do donation or sponsorship and stuff like that. Yeah.
Cool. Cool stuff. Thanks, Don. And then also, you know, just knowing the company's values and their goals will help you to tailor how you interact with them based on their preferences. So one of the accounts that we have at UGA right now called Valor Homes, they're very much family-oriented company, and they're very like personal, and they, whenever we go to visit them, they'll like cook us lunch or like cook us dinner. And that kind of relationship, we interact with them a little bit differently versus how we talk to like this accounting firm that we work with in Atlanta, which is a much bigger, more corporate kind of environment. And I know that if I go to a meeting with that accounting firm, that they're not going to like cook us lunch or anything like that. They're going to be like, okay, you have 30 minutes for this meeting and let's get what we need to get done. Versus the other one, we might spend an hour or two there and have a really good time and just kind of chat about things that may or may not be specifically related to iSIG. So making sure you know how does the company prefer that you build your relationship, because not everybody's going to want to get to know you on a personal level, but some of them might. And so it just really just depends. And then I think another big thing is updating them without being asked. So if you have something big that's going on in your LC, or even if it's something small that you did that you guys are proud of and you can brag about, do it. You know, the company that is investing essentially in that intern, but also in you and in this organization, in your LC. So they want to know when good things are happening, or when you've achieved a goal, or like some big event that you guys are planning is finally coming to fruition. Like those things are important to them, even if they don't go out of their way to ask you like what's going on. They shouldn't have to. You know, you should be invested enough to say, I think that you would care about this, so I'm going to let you know and update you and invite you to come out, because we care about it and we care about our relationship and we want you there and we value your time. And then while you're doing all of this, just keep in mind these standards and satisfactions. So a lot of these pertain to the EP. But overall, you know, what we're doing and the relationship and the partnership management that we're trying to achieve is based out of these standards and satisfactions. So we want our EPs to have a good time, and we want them to learn a lot and grow as leaders and grow personally. And the way that we would do that is having those really strong, sustainable relationships with companies, and making sure that EPs are able to have an open dialogue with their supervisor and with that company. And if something's going wrong, that we know about it and we can address it and help to fix it. And if not, that they're like fulfilling all these requirements in order to make sure that they're getting like their iSIG experience that they're here to achieve. And if you have that really good communication with the company, you're going to know whether or not that's happening. And if it's not, how can you go about fixing it? And while you're doing all of this, it's just something to remember and keep in mind is the 50-50 rule. So in any relationship, this rule applies. So like Tan said before, we're not begging them to take in interns. We're not, you know, on our hands and knees, oh, please, like, please respond to me, please take care of my EP, please like pay your invoice or whatever it is. You can only put forth your 50%. And as long as you're doing as much as you possibly can without overwhelming the company or like annoying them or stalking them, then that's as much as you can do. So, you know, put in the effort, take the time, try to build that relationship. And as long as you are doing that, then don't feel bad if the company like doesn't respond or they're not very responsive. They don't come to any of your events. It doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter what they choose to do. It just matters that you met them halfway and you put forth that effort and they see that and they recognize it, whether or not they tell you. And then call to action. So I just want to hear from you guys. How many of you right now have accounts that are 2 years or older right now in your pipeline? If anybody. 1 year or older, maybe?
Ben.
Yes, Melanie. Who's me? Who's that? Ben? Ben. Okay, so Mel. Okay, Tucker, I know. Mel, yeah, so can you talk a little bit about that relationship that you have with that company?
Yeah, so the company is OSSQ. They took 18-month interns, and we just re-raised a contract with them because I spoke on the phone with them for a long time because they're such a great company and they love what iGET does, but they just had a really poor customer experience the first time around. But luckily they did re-raise with us, and so it's just we need to like keep a lot better communication this time is what I've realized.
Yeah. What was their experience like before? Like, why was it bad?
The people in charge didn't do like the quarterly check-ins. They didn't check in with the interns. The interns were somehow not invited to the things that Austin did. And so the company felt really left out of the loop in terms of how their interns should be treated because they cared for the interns and they gave them like incoming preparation seminar to America. But apparently they didn't get that through iGET, which they're obviously, supposed to get. So,
right, yeah. Well, thank you for that.
So we're fixing that this time.
Right, yeah, so making sure that like you obviously know the issues that are happening right now, like, and don't let those continue. You know, like right now, the problems that the company is having. So they took a chance on you again. And it's up to you. It's up to you specifically, Mel, to make sure that like the relationship that they have right now is going to change. Like they can see that the relationship that they had with iGET in the past year, that's not what iGET is. And that's not what we believe. And that's not what we do. We have higher standards of that. We're better than that, that kind of thing. Who is that person? Tell me about your company. Michael.
Hey, so we've had a partnership with Brooks Brothers before Dad was even in iGET. So that's what, like 5 years now. So when I took over as VP, they were actually bringing in another EP, and even though I had never been in contact with our representative with Brooks Brothers, they like trusted me that I was going to be able to do that job just because of the relationship that they had with my predecessor and their predecessor before them. So it's just really nice to see how they trust iGET.
Can you guys see everybody else? Like, do you just see me?
We just see you sometimes.
How do I fix that? Shit, can you see yourself now? Okay, it's good. Thanks, Ton. Cool. So you obviously like have had a relatively good experience with them before, right, Michael? Or like they've had a good experience with iGET before. So based on like what you've seen before with them, like do you see any areas that you could like improve upon for the customer experience that they've had with you?
So I think like 2 weeks before, no, like right after I got elected, they actually had another pre-match coming in, and I didn't work on any of that yet because I was still like in transition phase. So that once I became VP, like the account was like the process was almost already done, and I didn't really know what I was doing at that point because in that account I wasn't up to date where it was, especially because I wasn't on IGT before I got elected. So everything was brand new to me in terms of where they were along the process and all those things. So if I had a quicker transition, just through reading past emails and understanding where they were, I think the EP that just arrived Saturday could have been fixed to maybe arrive 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think for that, bringing it back to what Tan said earlier, it's all about like the relationship. And honestly, this whole like customer partnership management thing is about relationships. So if they, if the company like trusts you and knows you on a personal level, they'll be more willing to accept the fact that you're making mistakes, right? And like make mistakes, and we take longer time to do things than we should, and like that's just the reality of it. But if they are aware of that, then it's going to be easier to like mitigate it when if they get upset and they're like, oh, like you're not meeting your deadlines, you're not bringing like forth the promises that you made, then like you can. Hi, my friend is bothering me. Sorry, get out of here. You see what I'm saying? Like they'll be more willing to work with you and accept the fact that you are a student and like you have other things going on in your life. Cool. Yeah, I mean, like, question. What if the company is refusing to respond about scheduling a meeting for a quarterly review twice? I CC'd all the interns too. What do you mean they're refusing, Emma?
So, okay, the one company that's actually working with us actively is Meta. They're international, their international partnership, I mean. And I've emailed this person like twice over the period of a month because they said they were super busy. So then I contacted them again, but we're way behind on like talking to them. I talk to the company a lot. I talk to the interns a lot, but I'm never able to schedule a meeting with them. And I don't know why they're refusing.
So do they say that do they just say like, oh, I'm busy, and then talk to us again later?
Just not respond. Like most recently, they haven't responded. I'm still giving them more time. It's only been 3 days, so hopefully they'll respond. But they did this, yeah, global partner.
They're a global partner. That makes a little bit more sense. I mean, like I have a company like that too. They like literally just will not respond when I email them, and I've called them and I've sent them many emails. They take a really long time. And I mean, that's just going back to like the 50-50 thing. You can't force them to respond, you know, as long as you're just like doing as much as you possibly can. Maybe see if you can go up and visit their office. Is it like accessible?
Yeah, I can go see them, but I have to have permission to enter their office.
Oh.
I need like a visitor tag. So.
Oh yeah. Okay. I see.
I'll talk to Gamanda, I guess. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, for that, there's like not much you can do. You don't want to like email them a million times and then just feel annoying, you know?
Yeah,
I feel like
I need to talk to you guys.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that.
That's good input, Thomas. Thank you, and Ton.
Yeah.
Talk to Amanda. She'll help you out. She can rough them up a little bit. Like Amanda's a little bit more aggressive than I feel like we can be, but it's okay.
Okay, I'll do that.
Cool. Any other questions, comments? Like, do you guys want to like share any other experiences that you guys have had? Bad, good? Do you understand like your role for this upcoming semester or like year about how to do your job once the company says yes, like once you raise that account? Does that make sense to you? Be kick-ass. Yeah. I'm gonna take your silence as a yes. And if any of your guys' performance is less than mediocre or less than great, less than great performance, then I'm gonna kick all of your asses. Should we divide the team into two, one BD 80? What do you mean, Tom? Don, what are you talking about? All right, I feel like you guys are all pros since you're talking into this chat. One just focus on sales and the other doing account delivery. No. Cool. You guys know how to be kick-ass account managers now? It's not that hard, just talk to companies. Make them love you and tell you all their problems. Cool stuff. It's really not like, I mean, there's not like much training to go into. It's not like sales intensive. It's just relationships. It's fun. Make friends. Michael doesn't seem convinced. What's up, Michael? Are you okay? Yeah, I have one that I can share with you, Emma, if you want. You're tired? No excuses. Get some coffee. Well, I feel weird because I'm like the only one talking. Somebody unmute themselves.
Yo!
Yo.
What up, baby?
Oh my God, Tucker, you can leave.
What's up, everybody? It's been a while.
Way to be extra, Tucker. Good job.
I'm gonna stop this broadcast.